Nanza here. Today we'll be talking about conditional rendering, a topic that is rarely talked about but widely used. Here's a question. How does an app know to show your dashboard when a user logs in? Better yet, how does an app know to change the appearance of a button once it's been pressed? These questions are best answered by a topic known as conditional rendering. If this, show that. Today we'll be taking a look at how to implement conditional rendering in an app that we'll be building. We'll be building a hamburger menu that you can open and close, and we'll be doing this using React. But the thing is, conditional rendering is not only limited to JavaScript. It can be used in a variety of other programming languages, such as Swift as well. Thinking about it, conditional rendering is all one big if statement. If this is true, show this. If it's false, show that. We can render different components depending on the state of our application. Here we have set up a React project that has a navigation bar at the top. And inside there's a hamburger menu. Clicking on the icon should open and close a menu that is shown below. We can think of this menu as having state. The menu can either be open or closed. We can implement this by importing the useState hook from React and setting up a state variable for the menu, which we're going to call isOpen. We're going to give this state an initial value of false, meaning that when the page first loads, the menu is going to be closed. I made a video about this earlier, showing how to use the useState hook, but I'm going to briefly go over it here. We're going to destructure two items from the useState function. The first item is going to be a variable that we can use to set our current state, while the second item is a function that we can call to set that state. We want to change the state of the menu when the hamburger icon is clicked. We can do this by providing an onClick handler that calls a function when our icon is pressed. In this case, it calls the setIsOpen function, which we can use to set isOpenState variable to true. This just changes the state, but it doesn't actually do anything to the UI. This is where conditional rendering comes in. In our CSS, we have two important classes. We have one class that is a show class that has a visibility property that is set to visible, and another class, which is a hide class that has its visibility property set to hidden. Back in our JSX, we can add a condition to expand our menu list. We do this by using a ternary operator. The ternary operator evaluates everything on the left side of the question mark, and depending on whether the results were true or false, it outputs either the block of code on the left of the colon or the block of code on the right of the colon. True statements are always going to be on the left of the colon, while false statements are always going to be on the right of the colon. If isOpen is set to true, we're going to add the show class, else we're going to add the hide class with a visibility property of hidden. Now that this is complete, we have a way to conditionally render components based on the state of your application. Now, how else might you want to use conditional rendering in your app? Here's a challenge for you. Create a counter app, but this time, make the counter app know when you are in a positive range or in a negative range, or even 0. If you're in a positive range, set the counter color to green. If you're in a negative range, set the counter color to red. If it's 0, set it to black.